G'day there guys, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. A little bit of a follow on. I think I've managed to save the day. I manufactured another holder, exactly the same problem, too loose with the tool shank. So at last, I put a 10th reading micrometer on the shank, and the bloody shank's about a thou and a half undersized. So good old Mr. Dormer's let me down there. That's why I couldn't get the fit that I desired. So luckily in the mail along came a new set of collets. I've mounted the 10mm collet inside the little ER16 chuck, and I've got a very worn 5/8 collet in the form relief grinder, and bugger me, it comes out as being as near as close to zero slop as I'd like to have it. It's been bloody wonderful, and hopefully I can get this spotlight and the camera aimed down on the action. So I'll bring it down on there and you can have a look for yourself. Okay guys, I've got my camera balancing precariously off the light stand. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I put the clock first on the body of the collet chuck and I got a surprisingly good result, but this is now on the shank. It does get a click when it goes over centre, but so far that's 1/100th of a millimetre indicator. And as the Yanks would say, that's as near as goddamn perfectly as I'm going to get. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, move the indicator. I don't want to grind that. That's the sort of thing I do too often, accidentally. Yep, nothing touching as of yet. Put the drive belt back on my mechanism. That's it. Okay, let's see if we're ready to rock and roll. Just making some funny creaking noises, but that looks quite okay to me. Okay, I'll start the grinder. Let's see if we can't give this countersink a little bit of a hurry up. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat with this thing. I thought I was right up on it. That's called creeping up from 12th hour away. $15. Ah! The welcome sound. It's coming up very, very close to the original grind. Now, I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but it's got a good, very crisp, distinct grinding sound. If it doesn't sound crisp, it means something's loose. You forgot to tighten up the collet or some other disaster about to happen. We're up to the heel of the land. And as the Yanks would say, yeehaw! Yes, very happy about that. And the owner will be too. I only have to take a couple of thou off. And one thing you can have happen with small diameter countersinks and with big diameter countersinks down at the pointy end, as the wheel drops in behind the flute that's just been, the land just been ground, it'll take just the nose off the next flute. So you'll lose about 1/8 of an inch of usable diameter down low. That's just a phenomena. I've been unable to overcome it until now. And I would say changing the ratio lever position of the pivot has done the jobby. That looks quite good. Okay, I'll do the other two, put them up on the bench, and then bring you around to the wrong food when we grind the other cutters. Okay guys, we're back on Terry's countersinks. I hope I've got this in a workable position at the moment and hope the fan isn't too annoying for you. I'm just using an old-fashioned surface gauge here with the bent scriber around the back, and that allows me to arrange the rear corner of the cutting edge to the same height as the centre of the countersink. Now normally I would line that rear edge with the corner here, but as there's unequal spacing on the edges, that really doesn't ring true. But we're up against the stop. Oh wow, that's close. Everything's good at that end there. I just got to keep my mind on the back of the bloody workhead bracket. Oh geez. Not an easy thing to do. Okay, get rid of some tools. Also, I had to swap the indexing finger to the other side of the shaft to bring the indexing equipment out a little bit. It was just getting in too close all around. One of these jobs that if you don't do it every day, you just lose the plot about what you're up to. Okay. I think I'm just going to do it. Okay, let's make some noise and see if we can't make a few sparks. Okay, so far so good. We haven't made it along the full edge, but made it about 2/3 of the way. It's only going to be another thou or so and it'll all be ground. Good. Let's go. Fraction more. I'm going to have to blow that up. Okay, back again. And the work light just doesn't give me a good enough look at the edges. It's very hard to get a decent reflection on them because of the position. Yep, good. Yep, I've got 100% registry now. So all the edges cleaned up, and I'm very lucky that they did, because grinding the primary I'm getting very close to impringing on the following tooth. So I'd say that one is finished. I've only got the little beggar, the 4-fluter. I don't know whether I'll be capable of doing it properly, but we'll give it a try. I'll bring you back when that's mounted up. G'day fellas, just winding up this episode. I can't progress the small drills any further. I'm waiting for quite a large loupe 40mm diameter so I can make a fixture up to line the cutting edges. But I think we've done a reasonable job. We've got the body made for the grinder assembly. Chuck fits it quite nicely, and it's amazing that this chuck also fits the 5/8 collet I've got for the former leaf grinder. Now, a bit of a trap with these collets, when you're grinding something like a countersink, the effort of grinding, or the resistance to the grinding force, tends to undo the collet and the nut. and I almost came to grief, because if it does come loose, it pulls the cutter further and further into the work and more into the grind, and you finish up with a bloody near catastrophe. One of the 90-degree countersinks probably had about 4 or 5 thou of abuse there. I had to regrind it again and again to get rid of that. But please be aware that the grinding forces aren't big, but they are there. And I found with this type of collet, the Ericsson style collet, even when you're using a milling cutter, when they get hot, they can lose a bit of their grip. Okay, the body came up quite nice, just a bit of simple turning and milling. Right, I've got a pot here with some wax, melted wax. I'm just dipping the cutters in. That's to prevent the cutting edges being damaged in transit. And also I'll roll them up in a bit of newspaper, and I'll use the bubble wrap that Terry sent them in, package them up, and I might get them away tomorrow if I get a chance to go down to the shops. This living real residential is fabulous, except when you want to do something. Everything else just happens to be somewhere else. And that shite can get a little bit hot in there. I don't know what they put in this wax, but God, it sticks like poo on a blanket. This is really good stuff. Sorry, it's a very good product. Use proper English. Okay, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so far. For those of you that are model engineers, especially railway fellas, about 15 years ago I got a copy of a set of drawings for a World War I Hunslet locomotive used over in France, carting ammunition around. A fellow named Cole McKechnie over in England drew all the drawings up, taking the measurements off a live machine, and he's graciously let me say that I can produce it here in Australia, as long as we recognise that he's the fellow that made the design. So I'm going to put forward a bit of a project if I can get some support. There's about 25 laser drawings, so you get a lot of the parts cut quite easy. I've had the boiler drawing approved by the AMBSC, and it's been modified to the Australian specs, so that'll be quite an easy build. And if we get 5 or 6 boilers in a row to do, I'm pretty sure my welder will give us a reasonable price. Nothing cheap, but nothing over expensive. It's a wetback locomotive style boiler, and that boiler would also be useful for many other locomotives. You just have to say to the boiler inspector, I want to make it longer, and he ticks longer on the drawing. Move the turret, okay, ticks move the turret, but the basic design will stay the same. So all the best for now, and we'll see you with the next video.